Marie's Memoirs.
Hi guys, welcome to Marie's Memoirs. So today I have an amazing guest with me and her name is Rosemary and we're talking about careers and this is the career segment. So Rosemary is a probation officer. So I do have a few questions, but if you could lightly introduce yourself before we just delve in, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Rosemary. Thank you so much for watching and thank you, Marie, for having me on today. So exciting. So yes, I'm a probation officer, but I do a little bit more, well, a lot more outside of that. So you can check out my links below, but I really have a deep interest. I'm passionate about bringing out the best in people, and this is how I got into this career. So yeah, let's get into the questions, and I guess you can hear more.
Amazing. Okay, I actually really love the fact that you've said that you like to help people. That is, those kind of sentiments are always amazing, and so it makes sense to be in this kind of career when you know you're in a position to do that. So, tell me, what made you get into this field of work specifically?
So I was about 22, 23. And I wasn't sure where I was going, but what I had in mind is I want to mentor people, and that stuck with me. So I spoke to my careers advisor at my old university. I went to the University of Westminster, Regent Street, and when you graduate, as you know, you can speak to a careers advisor. And she said two things, and she was like, well, you can be a police officer or you can be a probation officer, because I came to her with that thing of mentoring, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to speak to people, kind of coach people. So that was my heart. And I got some advice. And then also my mum was encouraging me as well, saying, oh, the service need people. Why don't you think about it? So I prayed about it and just looked. I actually phoned the probation head office at the time. I Googled their, number. I was like, okay, let me just speak to them and see what they say. And I said, okay, I've got this degree. At the time, I had a degree in sociology and psychology. Okay. So I wasn't sure what, so they said I had to do a master's in criminology, it's for a year.
Wait, so to become a probation officer, is that like a necessary requirement? You need that?
They're more flexible now because you can do a program. I guess you'll ask me a bit later on. You can do a program that takes a bit longer so you can get the extra modules that you don't already have. But at the time, the equivalent, because I already had my bachelor's, so they just said, just do a master's and then you can apply. So I was like, okay, cool. I did it in faith. I stepped into it. And it was just it's such an amazing testimony of how, as I was graduating, I was applying for the role and I actually got the role as an underqualified probation officer, and I started doing that. So yeah, I got into it. What made me get into it is because I have a heart for people. I wanted to mentor and help people, and then I checked out what was available and I just went for it.
That is so good. With the you said it was an under position for the probation. Is that something that any new probation officer would have to do? So you'd be kind of like an understudy and then you would pass, or say for example, I've come from another, if I come from a corporate background, would I then be able to? Does everybody have to go through the under part and then?
So it's called a probation service officer, and then there's probation officer. So you can enter as a trainee, so you can apply for the trainee program, or you could just say, I want to be a probation service officer. So they do similar roles, slightly underpaid, but not as much pressure, in terms of the responsibility and the risk level. So it's just a safe place. I just wanted to join and, just to start that way, and then I just believe that I would qualify one day. But so it's a choice. There's a program you can join with, or you can just say I want to join as a probation service officer, and then you don't get that much risk. You don't deal with that much risk, really.
So with a service probation officer.
Probation service officer.
Probation service officer.
I don't know why I don't know, but it's just, that's what they call it.
Ah. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so in regards to a career, in regards to a degree, it's desirable to have a criminology degree, and possibly, I mean, I'm guessing sociology would help a lot in regards to how people react to things, and psychology, actually. I would think they all go hand in hand. Is it more preferred, like, say, for example, you've got an engineering degree. Does it matter what degree you have? Because you've already kind of said that there are programs in place that people can get onto that will kind of like fast track them to that position.
Now I think for the last few years, they introduced 2 ways. So you can do a 15-month one depending on what modules you have. So if you have, let's say, the law background, criminology, let's say you did a degree in those areas, then you can kind of do the 15-month. But if not, then you do the 21-month, and then you do those modules as you go. So if you come in from engineering, you can do perhaps the 21-month one. So it's longer, of course, and it's a bit more, because you're working and you're doing your studies, but you still get the end result. It wasn't around in my time. So,
well, that's decent. So then, okay. So with being a probation officer, like, what would your typical day be? Like, what is your business as usual, your hours, what usually happens?
So I think the really exciting thing about my role is that it varies from day to day, and I've always tried to make my role as exciting as I can make it. So you know how sometimes people may not want to do prison visits, they might want to prefer video link or telephone call. I would be the one to be like, I want to do a prison visit,
Yeah.
So day to day it's different. Like, I usually start off the week with like administrative tasks. Like, I want to do my assessments, I want to catch up with things, make sure that everything is on the system, like your normal admin work. And as the week picks up, I'll have like Tuesday, let's say, I'll have a couple of people coming to see me at the office because, they have to have appointments with us. But now we're doing telephone contact, working from now. So,
of course.
I have some days where I focus on my assessments. I had days where I schedule prison visits before the lockdown. And then there's days where there's professionals meetings, home visits. There's like, you might even need to go to court. There's different things, and it depends where you're based as well. I'm in the community, so I'm based in an office, and I have a caseload of like prison cases, people that have just been sentenced, community sentence, suspended sentence kind of thing. But then you can either be based in the community, prison, or the court. So I'm in the community, so that also has an impact on how your day is. But no day is the same. That's something that everyone knows. That it's not just every day the same thing. So it kind of varies, which is nice. I make it, fun, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely. When you said, if you're based in the courts, what would be the main difference between based in the community and then based in the courts?
So if you're a probation officer based in the courts, you are doing mainly pre-sentence reports. So you're interviewing people that are about to go and get sentenced. You're having a conversation with them. You write the report, help the judge or the magistrate make a decision. So you do like a risk assessment, you have an interview with them, pick up on their attitude, their behavior, their reason for why they did what they did. And it's mainly that kind of work. So yeah, that would be more same kind of thing on a day-to-day basis as opposed to in the community.
Okay. That's interesting. And have you ever felt threatened or been in a threatening kind of situation in your role? And is this a 2-part question? So that's the first part, but then have you ever, do you guys get training, like physical training to like defend yourself if something was to happen? Like, how does it work in those kind of situations?
So when we do our training program, they teach us more about like conversational ways of calming people down. They call it motivation viewing. What they do is that it's like a little bit like a police station where there's an alarm strip on the wall, and they also give us personal alarms as well. Thank God I've never had to use mine. I've always been able to situation. I have felt threatened in certain situations. There's been times where people have raised their voices, started getting upset, and I just said, look, I've been able to use words to calm them down. They don't train us like how, I don't know, a police officer would be trained like to restraint, nothing like that at all. They just basically say, like, if the situation escalates, press the alarm and leave the room. I've had to walk away at times when I've seen someone get very angry, because we make decisions that, of course, they wouldn't like, you know.
Yeah.
They see us have quite a lot of authority. I tell them, I'm honest, I say I don't have that much authority, because there's people above me that make the big decisions.
Yeah.
I can say what I want, but they have the final say. So there've been situations where I've been bold, I've said what I need to say, I've gone, and I've also felt a bit like, okay, Rosemary, you really need to just calm this thing down right now. This could escalate in one. If you don't say something, so I'm just like, and then they manage. So yeah.
So do you guys have like a police officer like always present when you guys have interviews, like in your office, or not really?
No, it's nothing like what you would expect. I think other countries like Australia and America, they get to carry firearms and stuff. Like
wow.
I think they do actually. I know Australia do, but like it's more of an authoritative role. But with us, we work with police, but no, there's nothing. It's just yourself and the person in a room, and you're just talking to them normally. We've had security in the past, but that's something that comes and goes. We don't always have that.
Oh, okay.
And they're not in the room with you, so no one's there with you apart from the Lord. Like, that's it.
Right. just it's just me, you, and God. Okay. Like, let's just be okay, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So, I had another question, but it's literally. Man.
Oh no.
I know. I was just like, oh, never mind. So, another thing that I would like to know is, what is the most rewarding part of this career choice?
I just think like speaking life to people that feel like they've lost everything. You know, we're dealing with very serious offences here. Like, we're talking murder, we're talking serious sexual offences, like we're talking, you know, people in the papers, their picture and everything. Like, this is serious. So, because I came from, when I first joined, it was low to medium risk, and then I stepped into medium, high to very high. That's what I'm doing now. So it's about like just showing love to people, like giving them hope, speaking life, that whole mentoring aspect of it. It just, I'm living out my purpose, and it just makes me happy to, even if like, because that seed you're planting could like, you know, grow like maybe 10 years, like you never know, but it might not be in that moment. But just believing the best for people, encouraging people, that's really, really rewarding for me. And also when people do like make life changes, when they do like, let's say, get a job, that might be a big thing for them. Some people have never had it before, and getting used to the pay change, because obviously if you're like selling drugs, for example, obviously the money's not going to be the same as if you're just working for someone, you're starting your career as a you know, an adult. So even things like that, those are things that I'm really happy about, you know, people that come out of prison motivated and just don't want to get back. It's good to see those things as well.
No, that's amazing. You mentioned something about medium high. Is it, so are your clients kind of category based? So you'd have like low to medium, then medium to high, and then low to medium. How is it categorized?
So it's based on, so we look at protective factors, how we assess their risk. So someone with low risk, maybe it could be their first offense, they have like a lot going on for them, like family support, they're working, they've got, I don't know, like positive friends, things like that. So someone that is high risk is probably, let's say, maybe no support in the community, homeless, around negative like friends. So it's the propensity to commit a reoffense. How likely is it that you're going to commit this offense? So that's how we kind of work with them, and we attach the risk level because of the resources that we put to them and the time we put. So that's how they calculate all of that.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, because I was like, how on earth did they categorize? Okay, so what other positions alongside being a probation officer, but are there other positions that are similar to what you do in regards to your role and responsibility? Because I spoke with a lady before, and she was a prison custody officer. And so when you've been talking, I've kind of linked it back to what she does. And I'm very sure that if you guys were to step out, they would be there as well. But I think that's in the courts. So they're kind of mainly based in the courts. But which positions are kind of similar to what you do within your industry?
So that you could work with the youth offending team, that's kind of similar. It's just that you're working with youths, and if you're interested in that kind of work, it's very similar. You just work more with family, and work more closely with courts, police, the gangs unit as well. That's another department. They're in our team. They're in our team, but they just specialize in just working in gangs, and they're very good. What they do, work very closely with police. It's crazy, it's so interesting. You can also do my same role based in a prison as well. There's a team that are of probation officers that are based in a prison. I did my placement there a couple of years ago, and it's the same thing. It's just that you're in a prison, so you have a smaller caseload, and you go and prepare them for release. You talk to them, same kind of thing, but it's just different because you're the environment that you're in. Slightly different, but still within. You can work with victims if you want to. So I work with the perpetrators. One could decide that they want to work with the victims, and you kind of alert them. So they would liaise with us, and you alert the victim of whether they want to participate in the service, and then you'll just give them updates. Okay, this person is coming out at this time. Do you want any conditions to protect yourself from this person? It's like they're, and it's an optional service. They don't have to, engage. But yeah.
Okay. Now that's interesting. It's it makes, when you're talking about it, it makes sense, because there are, I'm sure, loads of different subsectors where you can specialize. Like you said, there are literally loads that you could possibly do. What I want to ask as well, something came into my head while you was talking, is how rigorous is the interview process for these kind of positions? Like, is it one of those where, you've got a 2-part exam, you've got a verbal interviews, and you've got a face-to-face interview? Like, how does the interview process work?
So, because I've done it twice, because they split the service, so I've worked in one part of it, and now I'm in the other part. I don't know if you know, but probation was privatized. So when I did it for the first time, what it usually is you do this, you get the face-to-face interview.
Yeah.
I hope I don't forget. I just remember sitting in front of the laptop and doing this. You have to kind of look at this report. What do they call it? When you're tested on, read this report and then write what it says. You have this time. I can't remember what they call it.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about though. It's not psychoanalysis. It's it's like literacy, like a literacy exam, but it's a bit deeper than that. I know what you're saying. Just don't remember it.
You get the face-to-face interview. We'll call it a literacy exam that's timed, and then you also have to do a group interview where you watch, you observe. So you're in a group of the people that are there with you, the candidates, and they want to see how you interact with, if you're having a meeting, and they'll be observing, marking you, and it's all timed. And so for me, I would say it's fair. I guess if you're going for that kind of role, they need to see certain things in you. But then some people that are not used to it, they might feel like it's a bit much, because the spotlight is on you at all points. They want to see how you write and how you pay attention to detail, because that's a big part of the role. They want to interview you and talk about your experiences, and then the group, how you communicate, and if someone is dominating the conversation, how do you then carry yourself as a professional? So
that's good to know. Thank you for sharing that. Another thing that I want to know is, do you have any kind of top knowledge nuggets that you would share with somebody if they were thinking about considering this kind of career, considering being a probation officer? What would be your kind of like top knowledge points?
I would say, I don't know if this counts, but have a heart. You need to have a heart for people. You know, this is not a job that you can kind of wing, because somewhere along the line, if you don't care and you're just doing a job, it's not gonna, you know, you're gonna miss things. And you know, when you actually genuinely care for people, they can open up to you, they can work with you, there's hope for them. So if you are someone that just wants a job for now, then it might not be for you. If you like coaching, if you like mentoring people, definitely, you know, good. Also, there's quite a lot of work, so you just have to be like prepared. Like even if you're not organized, you can learn to be organized. But it's good for discipline, because there is like work, like reports, there's all kind of things coming. So it disciplines you, it grounds you, but just know that, you know, there is a lot of work to do. So be prepared for that. Commitment as well, commitment, integrity, you know, these things really count. You know, you're dealing with people's lives. You have to think about being honest at all times, you know, because when we make our notes after we speak to them, it's a legal document that can be used in court. So just be someone of integrity, be committed to the role, be consistent. You need to be that role model for people, because their lives might be chaotic, but if you are on time, and they call it pro-social modeling when they're training us. So we are, you know, we present ourselves as people that they can look up to, that they can learn from, that they can be encouraged by. So, you know, if you're expecting them to be on time, and also be on time, you know, be fair, you know, that kind of thing. Just be genuine, care, and show a good example. Patience as well, because I joined the service like, yes, I want to see people change. Yes, like I was just like, yeah, I can help you, but it was more like kind of delusional, as opposed to like, okay, be patient with people. Sometimes you might just be planting a seed that could help someone later in life. You know, so that I remember when like people would reoffend, and I'll get upset like, oh, what haven't I done? But then I learned that, you know, it's not me. It's like, you know, people make their own choices. Do what you need to do to cover your back and make sure you're doing your job, but people can still do what they want. And and just be prepared to see like real life. Like people are going through things. People are really, really going through things. So, you know, be prepared, be open, be flexible as much as you can. Be understanding. Is that enough?
That was a whole heap. No, honestly, those are very, very good points, because at the end of the day, like with the majority of positions that people do, everything you have said is required. I think the one thing that you spoke about is that stuck with me, and it's sticking with me, is you've got to have a heart for the people. If you don't have a heart for the people, this may not be the best choice for you. Because if you don't care for the people, you're going to get bored really quickly. You'll just lose interest. And like you said, you know, you probably like drop the ball on a few things, because your heart's not in it, and it's not with the people. And that's what you are employed to do, is to help.
That it's about them, and sometimes they can be forgotten in all the paperwork. And the thing is that sometimes people have been through the system all their lives. They know who cares. They can see, like they can tell, like if you care about your job. Like people have said to me, you know, I like the fact that you're smiling. I like the fact that you. Over the years, people have said some really positive things, and of course, not all of them like me, you know, but. The comments that they've made, it really stood out to me, and it's really been like, wow, did I really help you? Like I was just going through the motions, doing my job, but then when they come back, or if you leave an office and they're actually calling around and you speak to them, it's like, wow, you actually did all that. It's just like, okay. So
that sounds really amazing and incredibly rewarding, to be fair. A lot of hard work, of course, but if you've got a heart for the people, it's definitely a rewarding career to go into. Rosemary, thank you so much for coming on the show and just sharing your insight on your current career role. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hi guys, if you like what you're hearing, do not forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts or some further questions, and thank you for joining us.